Let's take you on a little tour around camp. So hot tenting has picked up steam, especially this year. It seems like everyone is getting one of these hot tents and wood stoves, and they're hitting the backcountry and just enjoying, you know, the full year of outdoor camping and experiences. So winter is quickly becoming a non-deterrent because of what these things allow you to do. I did sleep in here last night. It got down to, I think, 4 below, and it stayed a consistent like 36 degrees in the tent. This morning I actually got it to 100 degrees in there. I had to back it down a little bit. But this tent is made by One Tigris. It's their rock wall tent. It's a TP style tent. It's got 2 doors, obviously the stove jack for the stove. This thing is big. The footprint's probably 10-12 feet. It's huge, so it commands a pretty big area. A very heavy duty ripstop. It's either a nylon or a sil poly, I'm not exactly sure. But once you guy it out, it takes like 20 spikes, 20 pegs to guy and stake this whole thing out. So it's a process to set up. One big center pole, but it's worked extremely well. This is the second time I've had it out, and for 2 or more people, 2 to 3 max with a stove is perfect. Solo, it's a bit much, especially setting it up yourself. It's a little bit of a pain doing it by yourself, but very doable. Let's take a little walk around, shall we? Pretty heavy duty zippers. They did freeze a little last night. Let's take a tour inside. All right, so coming in here, the peak height, it's probably 7 feet tall, right in the middle. You got your center pole here. But there's quite a bit of room. This whole area back here I just have for wood, you know, and storage, things like that. The stove, this is also by One Tigris. It's a 1-piece steel stove, weighs about 20 pounds. It's called the Roar stove. It's pretty heavy duty, and this thing cranks. The steel retains the heat really well. It's got a pretty efficient burn, and it works well. I do wish they would have given me another section or 2 of pipe, because the pipe should extend a lot more than it does now. It only extends like, you know, 1.5 feet out the top. So I'd like to get another section to extend it a little bit more. But got my chariot over here, got my bedding over here. We'll take a look at my bedding here in just a little bit. But it's cold outside. Right now it's like 3, but inside here it's 67. So I'm gonna spend a lot of my time in here relaxing, chopping some wood, eating, and just enjoying the hot tent. I'll probably go for a walk in just a little while, but it's cold out there. So we shall see. But let's take a look at my bedding setup, my sleep system. I chose to go with a cot system instead of just sleeping on the ground. I like to be elevated a little bit. It also gives you a little bit of storage underneath. But you can easily fit one of the fuller size cots up here. But the cot that I got, it's just a cheap cot, collapsible. It's about 80 bucks, 70, 80 bucks on Amazon. It only weighs about, 3 or 4 pounds. But it's worked really well. Compact's really small, gets you up off the ground, and it's got a lot of support. It supports up to 300 pounds. So above that is just this reflective foam that I got from AliExpress. A buddy of mine turned me on to this, and that's just to help reflect some heat back up to me. This thing was only like 8 bucks or something, but it took like 3 weeks to get. But it's a nice little added layer of reflectivity. But on top of that is this big self-inflating foam mattress. It's got like a 9 R value. It's big, it rolls up big, takes up a lot of space, but it's very warm, it's very comfortable. And again, it's just a cheapie from Amazon. I think this one was like 80 bucks. But it gives you a lot of cushion, and it really insulates you from underneath. On top of that, just one of these like Thermarest, one of these Thermarest Z-Lite, another layer of foam and some reflectivity. And then as far as, a pillow, this is just one of those foam pillows from REI. It works pretty well. Not the smallest thing, but for hot tenting and you're pulling everything in on sleds, you can bring a lot more stuff. But this was like 20 bucks at REI. Sleep system. This is a Nemo, I think a Cosmo Nemo sleeping bag, Nemo something. I've had this for like 5 years. It's a 30-degree left-handed zipper, so I like to face it out this way. And I just tucked that inside of my 10-degree hammock gear top quilt. Now, the one thing that was pretty cool is on the top quilt, there's these little grosgrain loops here, and I ended up bungeeing, like basically like pad straps, like you would for a pad. So I put these straps to go underneath the cot, so the top quilt just drapes over and wraps around the whole cot, and then I got my sleeping bag inside. So 10-degree top quilt, 30-degree sleeping bag, and I can get down to, you know, well below zero with this combo. So I'll be using this on my next big trip coming up as well. But for the most part, hot tenting is pretty cool. It's a lot of work, especially at these temperatures, because you're always, you know, you're processing wood, and you want to make sure that your stove is burning efficiently. You know, you're cooking, you're eating. It's just a lot of chores in an effort to stay warm. I did end up stoking the fire of the stove all night long, and it stayed really, really nice and warm in here. Like I said, like 36 degrees. But during the day, it gets up to like 80-something, 90-something in here. When I got up, I stoked the stove, and it got up to like 109 degrees. It was crazy. But these tents is another excuse for people to get outside. You know, we're just giant kids with money now, so we actually get to play with all these really cool things. But I say if something like this extends your time in the woods and in outdoor adventures, then get a hot tent. They're pretty cool, but do your research. Yeah, that's kind of the setup in the mini camp tour. But I'm gonna get back to relaxing and do a little bit of cooking here, and then just enjoy being out here. So, anyways, I'll shut up. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. The tent's all empty now. Stove is gone, everything is gone. And I'm 5'8". It's probably like 7 foot 4 inches at the peak, but plenty of room, you know, here. But obviously it gets narrower as you come up. But 2 people in here with a stove is absolutely perfect. Huge footprint, like I said, like 10-12 feet. But a lot of room for gear, wood, 2 people, stove. The One Tigris rock wall is a pretty good tent. It takes a little bit to set up if you're solo. So if I'm going to go on a solo trip, me personally, I'd probably want something a little bit smaller. So we'll see. It's just money, right? Well, this is the inside. That about does it. 2 days, 2 nights in northern Iowa. We're joined by a few friends. Thank you for coming out and hanging out with me. If you like these kinds of videos, adventure videos, gadget review videos, consider subscribing so you don't miss any of the videos that I have coming out. But more importantly, if you're thinking about hot tenting because it looks cool, that's because it is cool. It gives you an excuse to get outside and experience this stuff. Camping season does not have to end when fall ends or when the snow flies. There's an awesome time to be had out here, provided you have the gear to do so. So do your research on a hot tent and a good stove and go for it. Anyways, appreciate you watching. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you on the trail.